What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're going to be installing a KBD GP1 bumper on the 240. Originally I wanted to get the B Sports rear bumper since it's so much more aggressive. Now the only issue is that my car is really low, and with that kit I would literally be on flat ground. I would be dragging that bumper since I'm tucking 17s. So that's why I wanted to go with the GP1, just because it's a little bit less aggressive, and I'm not really a fan of big, super aggressive rear bumpers. At the same time, like that, the B Sports one was cool, but at the same time, I like a subtle rear look. So that's what we're going to be doing in today's video. Now, first things first, we have to remove the stock rear bumper. So it should just be four, I don't know if they're 14 or 17s up here where the actual bumper itself is held into the chassis. Should be about 5-10 millimeter nuts right there with studs sticking out, and then remove the license plate, and then the whole bumper and bumper cover should come off. Once you get all the carpet out of the way, there should be these little rubber grommets on top right there. You could access your bolts. I believe they're 14s, so there should be 4 of them, and that's kind of what holds the crash bar in place. And then what holds the skin onto the car is 10 millimeters over here on the side. Now the skin is fastened to the crash bar from the underneath side, so you have to take it off in order to take the skin off. If your 240 has never been messed with, if your car has already had the bumper removed, 9 out of 10 times these bolts that hold the, I guess, the fascia on the crash bar are probably always taken off and never put back on. Alright, so I got the factory bumper all torn apart. I got the foam that's in here. Now I was originally planning on running this, that way the bumper wouldn't sag, but from the looks of it I might have to do a lot of cutting, and that's going to defeat the whole purpose. So what I'm thinking is of putting some zip ties up here on the center garnish in order to hold the center up, and also I'm going to be using this little bracket that the factory bumper came with up here. So this is just the bumper skin, the factory one. So that, and then there's one in the bottom that you can see right there. That goes on the actual metal bumper piece that bolts onto the car. So hopefully when I have that bolted up here, bolted up in the bottom, it shouldn't sag too much. And then the brackets that go into here, into the chassis of the car, I'm going to be trying to put those onto the new KBD bumper. That way it holds this body line pretty tight. And then probably just some self-tappers over here or zip ties. Now I'm taking this kind of the same approach I did with the front bumper. Now this one, the only difference is I'm not going to be taking this one on and off. This one is just going to be on there kind of forever. The front one, I made it so you could take it on and off super easily because it's super aggressive and low, and going into steep driveways it'll just flex it and bend it. But even then, after driving with it, they flex an insane amount, so it's honestly not even, at first I thought I was going to break it, but you could see it's kind of impossible to break these things. Got the OEM crash bar in place. So back here I have that piece. I didn't even have to drill the holes because they're already like, look like this kind of, where there's just little ovals. Now the only thing is these have holes, the factory ones, and these don't, but where they have those little imprints, they're super thin, so all you have to do is push it through, or you can even just drill them. But now I got the crash bar in place. I'm gonna try to get the foam in there, cut it up so I can have a little bit more support, but right now I just want to get this on there. I also had to cut the back over here of the bumper. There's this little piece right here because it was hitting on the OEM crash bar, and I kind of just copied the design of the factory one because this one doesn't have it. And it looks like that. Now it does look a little janky right now because it's 2 different colors and the cuts are rough, but the license plate goes right here, and then up here goes your license plate lights that are over there. But fits pretty good. I got the factory side mounts on. Now this one is just going to be hanging there since there is no support for that, but these two are going to fit into the chassis of the car. Now I just put these on right here, and I'm going to see if these fit, but this side fits pretty good. Just have to grind this little corner away so it's round and fits a little better. This one I have to grind as well. You can see the little mark I made right there if it ever focuses. You can see the little mark I made right there. I'm going to give it a little bit of a radius so it flows with the chassis design of the car. So I got it bolted on right now somewhat. I have only one bolt in each side where it mounts up to the crash bar in there, and then I have 2 of the nuts on the factory bracket that goes in here. I'm not even going to do the 3rd one because it's really hard to get, and it doesn't even support the bumper since the support ends right here, and then this is just the outer piece. But actually, now this side, for not really doing any real work, it fits actually pretty decent for it, at least being KBD and polyurethane and all that. Now it's not OEM obviously, but it's pretty smooth. Right here there's a slight gap, which I could fix by zip tying this up to the center garnish, but I have different tail lights, so I'm not even gonna bother to drill this. I'm just gonna leave it there and see if it sags. If it sags, then I'll zip tie it up. But right now I'm just mocking everything up. The whole kit is gonna get mocked up, and then once it's all mocked up and I know if it's good and it's not gonna fall off, then I'll proceed to painting it. So that's why I'm kind of just testing everything out. Now this side fits really good. Now this side, it's a little short. So you can see it's right here, it seems like it's flush, and then over here you can see it's a little bit of a low spot right here, and then up here. So what it looks like is going on is that it's just physically too short and not as wide as it should be, which is to be expected though, so it's not that big of a deal. I probably could pull this out a little bit more, that way it looks flush. And then now this is the one thing that's bugging me, is this gap right here, but I'm gonna try to figure that out. But if I do figure that out, I'll post it in the video, that way you guys can see. My exhaust actually fits pretty damn good in there, which I'm surprised. These are dual 3.5 inch blast pipes. So it's hitting back here a little, but I'm going to cut all this out anyways. But yeah, it fits pretty good. I'm going to be raising the exhaust up a little bit more. The whole exhaust is going to get changed once I get the new motor set up in there, and everything's going to be changing. So that's why this is all temporary. Now that this is all good to go, you can see this is just hanging here. Kind of molded, kind of weird since I left it like this for about a day and the sun just made it sag down. But once I get this all fastened over here, then it should sit nice and tight. So yeah, now these have these little plastic pins that hold the factory fender liner and the rear shield that goes back here. So I'm just going to pop these out and drill holes in the same exact place right here, and then try to use a nut and bolt setup since I'm not going to be taking this on and off. And if that doesn't work, then I'll resort to using zip ties. I have the bumper all ready to go. Now the only issues that I'm having is I have a slight gap right here that you can see, which I'm going to be double side taping once I get the bumper painted. So that's not really a concern right now. I just gotta find some really strong double-sided tape, because if I use like a 10 or 15 pound, then it's gonna pop off. But I've used I believe 30 or 35 pound double-sided tape, and it's super sticky and it'll work perfect for this because that's what I use for my Lexus. For the meantime, I just ended up drilling those holes that I mentioned in the previous clip, and I ended up putting some zip ties. Since I'm going to be removing this bumper, I don't see a real benefit to putting nuts and bolts just yet, although I will be putting nuts and bolts back there. For being polyurethane, I really can't lie, the fitment is actually very, very good. You can see right here, yes, it's not a factory OEM, but it's pretty damn close to it, especially for an aftermarket body. The crazy thing is, I've seen legit BN body kits from Japan that you pay, you know, a couple $1,000s for, and they don't fit nowhere near this good, and that's even after body shops have made them fit. The only real trimming I've had to do is make this edge round, since it was kind of a hard 90, so I just rolled that just so it kind of flows with the body right there. The exhaust isn't really all the way on right now, but like I said, I'm going to be cutting this out back here, cutting out this factory tow hook, that way I could tuck up the exhaust as high as I can. And in order to keep the back from flapping around, I think I'm going to fab up some sort of support that goes around the bottom like that to kind of keep it so it doesn't wobble around. And that's going to be hard to see on the screen, but the only complaint I have about the KBD bumper is that it has this weird bulge right here. So I'm not really sure what that's completely about. The only thing I can think of is that maybe when I put the upper bracket up here, that I kind of squished the bumper, so it's kind of having to, you know, bulge out, which I'm not too worried about. I'm just saying kind of that's what I don't like about it. It could be a user error type of thing going on. Yeah, and up and coming videos, we should be throwing on the KBD side skirts and making those fit, because everyone that I know just throws them on, and I think they look completely hideous the way they are. I'll show you guys right now. So I have the driver's side skirt right here,
and you can see that they just have an insane amount of material built up right here, which I think just looks completely wrong, and I think it kind of just puts out there that it's KBD. If you see a lot of 240s or just cars with body kits and they have really thick like right here, then to me when I see that, I see, oh, that's KBD for sure. Not that there's anything bad with KBD, but it doesn't look right, especially on a stock body car. You have front wide fenders or over fenders, then yeah, it kind of flows with it since it is a little wider, but if you're running this on stock body, I think that looks completely hideous. So I'm going to try to cut this down, make it look a little thinner, cut this down, make it look a little thinner, and then yeah, make them fit pretty decent. If you guys are interested in checking out a video that I did on installing the front bumper, I'll have that up here in case you guys want to check that out. Here's a little behind the scenes update on the engine. I got the crank in there. Now I'm just assembling my rods and pistons, and we should be getting this thing all buttoned up in the near future. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you guys have any questions, you guys already know what to do. Feel free to message me on Instagram, which is where I'm mostly active all the time. But with that being said, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out, guys.